Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday with the Progress Report. I'm your host, Dee Sage. How's everyone doing? I want to apologize to everyone last week for not being able to be here physically as your host, but I want to thank both Trisha and Taylor for stepping in last week and just walking right in. Had the opportunity of closing out a wonderful campaign with Tiara Mack, and I just want to say, Tiara, to you, congratulations to you and your staff on on the victory. Awesome campaigning out there, and thank you so much for your commitment. And I wish you all the luck in the general election. We have a wonderful show lined up for you today. I have two special guests, but before I introduce my guest host and my special guest, I just wanted to something came in. I was on my Facebook today, and I had seen something that said something about Cardi B has said that she does not allow her daughter to listen to her music, and it took a lot. It was some public backlash. People had called her a hypocrite for it. And things of that nature. And here's my thing. I don't think she's a hypocrite at all for it. At the end of the day, it's up to the parent to control the content, control what their children listen to, music-wise, what they're watching on television, what they're watching in a video. I know when I was a child, I couldn't listen to that song by Color Me Bad, I Want to Sex You Up. I remember one time we were driving in the car, and I was in the passenger seat, and it came on the radio, 95.5. Some of y'all remember on WBRU, came right on, and I was like, ooh. And as soon as I went to go say, I want to sex you up, my grandmama backhanded me with every single ring she had on her hand. Now, I'm not saying go beat your kids or anything like that, but I knew at that moment that was a song I should not be listening to. And we also I had a conversation with my mother one time about listening to R. Kelly. When we were home, yeah, my mom played R. Kelly all through the house. But when I was alone, R. Kelly wasn't even allowed at all. Matter of fact, I didn't even listen to rap music until I was about 14 years old because the way my parents controlled what I listened to. And don't get me wrong, I totally understand. It's very tough. It's very hard with the internet, with the live streaming, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and all that stuff. But be involved. Be there. Be your child's friend on all these. Check their TikToks. Ask for their phones. Ask for their tablets. Ask for these things. Heck, you got parents buy them, so technically it's your property. And that's the way I look at it. With all that said today, my guest host for today, her name is Sarah Mayer. I hope I said that right. If not, she could punch me in the throat a little bit later. So Sarah is visiting family from Seattle and agreed to take the time to join us. Unfortunately, with a COVID world, she is joining us via Zoom. Sarah is a passionate advocate for Native rights, environmental justice, and decolonization. Sarah, it's so good to have you here with me today. Well,
yeah.
Oh yeah, have you here. Well,
yeah. Almost there, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I know you have to, you're quarantining yourself. You said you were feeling a little bit under the weather today. And, I want to thank you personally for that. At the end of the day, we have to take care of one another by making sure we're doing our part, making sure, we have our rights, but we also have responsibility. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah. So, girl from Seattle.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It is popping over there right now, huh?
Yeah, it's wild. It's been wild. That's where COVID first sort of landed, besides California, right? We've been in quarantine. I've been in quarantine since February, which was before the whole state shut down. But it's sad that we've had to adjust, right? That our infrastructure really let us down here, right? That a health emergency in the United States turned into a health emergency, right?
Right. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, like I've said time and time again, I believe if Donald Trump has taken the proper actions and started earlier, I think we could have curbed this. We look at publicly, he was sitting there saying that this is going to be a hoax. I remember him saying it's going to be here one day and gone the next day. I remember him saying that. Now, last week, we find out that he knew all along this was going to be a deadly virus. He had talked to some world leaders about it, and he said that he was trying to keep calm. What are your thoughts on that, Sarah?
I mean, you can't really negotiate with like public health. You can't just keep people calm when you have a responsibility to lead. I think that it's just wishful thinking at a certain
Mm-hmm.
point. You can't just expect things to go away. And particularly since he did not have a contingency plan, he didn't have any early action. Like, it was just very obvious that he wasn't prepared and wasn't going to prepare. And it's just, well, we all know how it turned out, right?
Right,
We're
true.
here. This is
Speaking
how it is.
speaking of not preparing, nearly 90 large wildfires continue to rage and scorch millions of acres over and from the report that I was reading from CNN this week. When they say not just million of acres, they're saying about there's 87 active large fires that have burned more than 4.6 million acres in 10 states, according to the National Interagency Fire Center. California has the most with at least 25. What has it been like that over there on the West Coast with that going on as well?
Well, I mean, I'm from Nevada, right? And it's just that when these fires burn so hot, like, the ecosystem of these mountains of California, of the West Coast, a lot of them are adapted for fire, right? A lot
Mm-hmm.
of plants won't grow without fire. But when these fires are untamed, right? Like, my people, like so many like different native tribes, have been doing controlled burns for thousands of years, and would try and explain that we need to be doing controlled burns. And we've been behind for so long, and this is the consequence, right? Like, these
Right.
fires burn so hot. They burn so hot that these plants that are adapted for fire cannot withstand it, and it
Mm.
rains cork. It rains cork, and the sky is like totally obscured. It's apocalyptic, right? It's
Mm.
horrifying. And
Well,
the air hurts to breathe.
the,
What was
the
that?
the governor of state of Washington, he slammed President Trump in a letter, and he says, "Open quote: Your refusal to address climate change and your active steps to enable more carbon pollution will accelerate devastating wildfires like those you see today." What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, it's just there's no plans, right? We firefight. We don't fire prevent, right?
Mm.
Like, we can only like do
Proactive, not
so
reactive.
much once we've gotten to this point, right? Like, we need to already have been adjusting for climate change, and we just aren't. Like, we're not doing enough. And we're going to see more of these like apocalyptic events, right? Like, there's
Right.
fires burning in the Arctic. Like, it's called a fire regime, right? When you have like constant fires. Um, and it's just as terrible as it sounds.
I,
Like, I
and,
I laugh because I don't know what else to do, right? But
No, I listen. I don't blame you because I wouldn't know what to do either in that
mhm.
situation. And at the end of the day, I think right now the president should be declaring a state of emergency. He's refused to declare a state of emergency over in the western region. Also, I was also reading that the United States Postal Service is closing down post office service post offices, also because of the wildfires. And I think that's going to have a negative impact in this year's election, seeing how so many people are planning on voting by mail. Here in Rhode Island alone, I believe more than 50% of the people voted by mail in our primary election. And the numbers, according to the Secretary of State's office, more people are applying for mail in ballots for the general election as well. Um, do you think the president and his team is trying to, with them not declaring a state of emergency, not putting the aid and the lack of leadership, do you in a way they're trying to create voter suppression in those western states?
Absolutely, because when we have greater voter turnout, that's when we would have more change, right? And
Right.
like, everything that he does right now is to suppress anything that isn't favorable for him. And we're seeing that with the protests too, right? With the federal agents down in Portland. Like he's, I can only keep thinking monster, but like it's sad. It's sad that we're here.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah.
So moving on. Sorry, let me pull up the document right here. I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm having a little technical difficulty.
No worries.
It's okay.
Actually, yeah. Speaking on mail-in voting, Washington State actually does all elections by mail, and has been since I've been there, and it's almost 8 years. So it's a very streamlined process. Like everybody is able to vote in every election, and it's so nice to be able to have that access, particularly for people with like 9-to-5 jobs or like graves. Like it works for everyone, right? And you just have like particular voting boxes, like mailboxes at public areas, like at schools, post offices. And yeah, like mail-in voting is the way to go.
I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I've always said, there's some people that have to work 2 jobs. Or this. What about the single mother who has to worry about 3 kids when she gets out of work or before she goes to work? Sometimes it's very hard for that person to go and vote. So having access to a mail-in ballot, having access to emergency ballots, I think that really helps people, especially when employers don't really want to give time. Some employers don't really want to give time to people to go vote. That's to have these other options there, I think are very important for our country. But moving from that, a bit of some good news over in California. Trans women will no longer be incarcerated in men's prisons. I think this is a huge piece of legislation. After passing the state legislation with a vote of 29 in favor and 10 against, Senate Bill 132 is headed to the desk of the California Governor Gavin Newsom. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great news. It's sort of like how you feel when something big passes and you're like, I can't believe this is happening just now, where like you're a little bit taken aback, but you're so excited. Like we're where we need to be, sort of.
Yes, right? Yes. It's like we're making a step. We're moving in the right direction. The right direction here. At the end of the day, I love this piece of legislation because I hope other states look at this and say, all right, now let's do this. I hope it starts sweeping the country because this specific piece of legislation not only helps the trans community as a whole, but also helps a lot of trans people of color. And I'm just ecstatic. Words can't describe how happy. California, thank you. That's California, thank you. That's all I can say at that point.
Yeah, California's good at leading the way on those good progressive, like moving us forward, right?
Right. And I again, I think it's important. So back to Seattle a little bit. So there have been protests and civil unrest in Seattle. As a resident of Seattle, can you just talk about the feeling, what you see, all of it?
Yeah. So it's interesting because there's so many different viewpoints about it, but there's also so many different perspectives, right? There's people that aren't aware that there have been protests nearly every single day, right? That and the media will particularly focus on one aspect, and Mayor Durkin, right? Mayor Jenny Durkin, she's real tight with the police, and the media is also really tight with her and with the police. So there's definitely a perspective of violence as if the protesters are the ones escalating things. But we know this, we've seen this since Occupy, right? That it is the police that escalate situations. always, that there are peaceful demonstrations that turn into like riots, right? We hear the distinction between a riot and a protest, but
well, you're not seeing anybody. I had a question because a few weeks ago the president said that there were people throwing soup cans. He went on for like I want to say like 15 minutes about they're throwing soup cans, precious soup cans, they're just being thrown. They're being thrown. Good soup. Chunky Campbell's soup, progressive soup du jour. Are you seeing anybody
I haven't seen
cans?
any soup anywhere. I mean, a lot of I think that a big reason why the perspectives are able to be skewed so much is that so many people are still in quarantine, right?
Yes.
That like a lot of people aren't downtown still. Like the state's been opening up more and more, but like a lot of people are so detached from what's happening in their own city, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a friend that's been there nearly every day. She's working as a medic, and she was there on Labor Day, and I know that was a big, like, that they said it was a big violent protest as far as the other ones were, but it's just so bizarre because like what you don't hear is that they were marching to the police union building. And right as soon as they got there, the police had played Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy loudly on speakers, and then immediately like rushed them, just attacked the protesters. And they were just going there to like peacefully protest, right? It's Labor Day.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do on Labor Day.
Exactly.
That's how it began, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just bull rushed them. And it's suspected that because like precincts are repaired with city money, with taxpayer money,
Mm-hmm.
but the union building is actually paid for out of their pockets by the police budget. Like, so that they think that was a big reason for the big pushback there, for like the immediate jump to violence.
And now the U.S. Attorney's Office is getting involved. They're taking over Seattle, many cases. They already have 8 cases. And they said they're only focused on the arson and the violations on arson and destroying firearm violations, according to U.S. Attorney Brian Moran. Do you think that's the U.S. Attorney's Office getting involved is politically motivated?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'm just making sure.
No question. Yeah, because it's there's no business there for them unless they're making it political, right? Like
right.
That's not it's not about them. None of this is about them.
Oh no,
that's the problem. Well, it's about like systemic injustice, right? That's the problem.
Well,
and if you're taking it personally, well,
according to Trump and the Trump team now, their big rallies, they call them protests now. I'm like, that's not a protest. What are you protesting? You guys go stand there and listen to one person talk. What's going on with the riots? You know, those are protests. Those are sitting there saying, we're tired of business as usual. We're tired of the systematic racism. We're tired of black and brown people being victim to police brutality and violence. This has gone on long enough for more than 400 years. Before Emmett Till. We can't, a lot of people like to stop at Emmett Till. This is going on way before Emmett Till. So, yeah. But, Sarah, thank you so much for some of these points. We're going to go to commercial break, and I'll see you guys right back after these messages. welcome back. So I'm here with my special guest host, Sarah Mayer, all the way from Seattle, and she's here via Zoom. Now we're going to bring in our special guest. Charmaine Webster is a committed member of Woonsocket Alliance to Champion Hope, Watch, and the Woonsocket Boys and Girls Club. She's running for City Council of Woonsocket because she loves her city and hopes to be the voice of the politically muted. She says, open, and I quote, through representation, my voice and the other voices of other like-minded people will unapologetically demand systems and policies that address the needs of our community and its diverse population. Without further ado, welcome City Council candidate in Woonsocket, Miss Charmaine Webster. Hi, Charmaine. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing very well. Very happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us today. So my first question is, Charmaine, tell us about yourself and what led you to politics.
So I'm a 22-year resident of Woonsocket, having raised and am still raising 3 children. I have a son that's 27, a daughter that's 20, and a son that's 15. Being in the city as long as I have, knowing the pulse of the city and going through the educational system and advocating for my children, for others around us, and always finding a way for the things that they need. My turn to local politics was an organic, natural progression because my young adults needed me in a way that they never have. And it was just an organic progression to show them how it is that we can move forward and make change that we can't just sit back and complain. And, we can't just be the naysayers. Mm-hmm. We have to have action, and we have to make sure that people are being held accountable, and a way to show them how to do that so that they don't bottle up this anger and not know what to do with it. So basically a natural progression of being a mother.
Oh. So what is the most pressing issue facing the city of Woonsocket?
I feel like at this time, inequities across the board. Also, we have had an uptick in youth violence and shootings. And I also feel like we are living in a city where our municipality is not paying attention to the fact that there are answers for the concerns. We have been speaking out, as far as members of the Boys and Girls Club, and the fact that we organized the Watch Coalition for quite some time. And our youth have been demanding things that they need in order to come of age. And it's not, the local leadership has not been paying attention. As a matter of fact, they disregard a lot of the concerns because they are not something that they experience in their own home. So paying attention to the uptick in the violence and what that would look like to make sure that we are addressing. And also in a time of COVID, being underlying issues that were already here in a place like Woonsocket, and making sure that we take this opportunity to not let this pass without underlining and speaking out for and against inequities that our constituents face.
Yeah. Can you explain to me what the Rhode Island Political Cooperative is?
So the Political Cooperative is an initiative that started to get Democrats across the state elected, like-minded. It takes a machine sometime to get things done, and we would have great candidates. We would have awesome vision, but what we wouldn't have are the resources, because together is more powerful than doing something alone. So the cooperative was formed to basically make sure that we are moving through the political system on a statewide level in a way to get Democrats elected and to evoke change, real change across the board.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In so part of that change in your video on Facebook, you cite four main concepts of your platform: small business initiatives, youth organizations, affordable housing, and commuter housing. Can you share more details about these and what they mean for Woonsocket?
Absolutely. So as far as affordable and housing, with our neighboring states, we have to make sure that as we move into the future, and we get nice restaurants in Woonsocket, and we open up our bike paths, and you know, um, we become a place where young urban people want to come and live. That we make sure that we're bringing all of our community with us become um, as we go into the future to attract others to come live here. So that ultimately means that it's an awesome thing for us to have an environment in which people want to come, and they have great paying jobs, and we are accessible to Boston, we're accessible to Worcester, we're accessible to Connecticut even. But we have to be mindful that we're making sure that we are serving our constituents and making sure that there's housing a that's affordable for all of the people that are here, as well as attracting others.
Thank you. Good, Sarah.
Yeah. So, how has COVID-19 affected Woonsocket, and how's that affected your campaign?
So COVID-19 again just underlined what has already been that we've been faced with. Food deserts, trying to make sure that mentally people are in places that where they're able to be healthy. So COVID, on the Boys and Girls Club has food distribution, as well as we drive around and hand food out. Um, and I just feel like on a municipal level, we need to be focusing so that we're not always providing band-aids. We're actually providing solutions to these problems that many organizations around Woonsocket are being band-aids for. And as far as my campaign, this is my first rodeo, you know, but I also know that our ground game, has been affected, because we all we will win, and we have to do what it takes. But at the same time, we have to put the health of our city ahead of campaigning and such. So we're just about to start our door knocking. Just we had to make sure that our students could get back to school. We didn't want to start something where Woonsocket was going to be a list of places that parents and school officials weren't able to make the choices and the decisions that they needed to make, on the account of us trying to get elected. So it just puts a damper in being able to canvass in ways that in previous, when you're not in a pandemic, you're able to do. With that being said, we've had to think outside the box, and we've done that. And but to me, it just lends to nothing's going to be easy.
Mm.
Anything worth having isn't. So, if I'm telling my graduates, I know that this is a rough time to graduate in, but one day we'll look back at you and say, whoa, look at what you did. And you'll forever be the class that, that got that done. I have to use that same mentality and not
Mm.
just think about every hindrance that's happened and just say it is what it is and get through it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you how has being a single mom prepared you for the work on the city council? I had to answer that question because I like moms. I'm sorry. Listen. I'm
And I
at
love
times I'm
being
a bit of a
one.
mama's boy. So
Oh my God. No. Okay, so I um I I absolutely love being a mother. I feel like every child in my village is my child.
mm,
Um, that's how I've always lived. Uh, there isn't a child that couldn't reach out to me for anything. Uh, and and I want to just paint. I need to have a broader influence to have more of a groundwater effect in changing the lives of the people around me,
mm,
instead of applying all of these band-aids.
mm,
And what I've being a mother prepares you for so much, and there's not really much that they can throw at me that I can't figure out how to throw it back, and not in a place of anger, but to throw it back to make sure that it pulls us all forward. And I mean all of us. The idea of becoming a politician, I have things that I want to fight for, but ultimately you're a politician to all constituents.
mm.
And a rising tide lifts all boats, so whether everyone understands it or not, when you help the minority communities or and such, um, you're literally helping everyone.
Mm.
So being a mother just allows me to be prepared for anything and not let anything fluster me or get me off my game,
Yeah,
because
moms,
it is
moms,
what it
moms usually are prepared for anything, and what I love most about moms, because once a mother, always mom. You said, you're the kind of the mother to everyone in your village. It was funny because I went on a camping trip, and there was a mom on the camping trip, and I had caught an little algae attack, and she was so motherly towards me. Thank you, Tina. Anyway,
That's my mama.
Yes.
yeah. So
So you said that you want to help all of your constituents, and Woonsocket is very white, with over 70% of people being white. Do you think that they're going to be receptive to having a woman of color represent them?
um I feel like the people of Woonsocket are going to be receptive to love, respect, integrity, and accountability.
mm,
um I my children have played sports and been in every single team, and softball team, from basketball to softball to football. So I've dealt with all demographics over the past 22 years. And I do know that I have the support of a lot of people that I wasn't sure if politically they would be willing to support me. So they may not support everything about a Democrat, but since they've known me for 22 years and they know my stance, then they're coming out, they're requesting signs to be put on their beautiful front lawns, because they know what I stand for when it comes to my children and their children and our children, our young adults, and just always being in a frame of mind that of optimism.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a really personal touch that I think will also really reach out to people.
and I think that's important because in many races that we see a lot, and especially in Rhode Island, we don't. I think a lot of politicians have lost that personal touch. Some have lost that personal touch of connecting with the community, and I think that's rather important. Um, how will you work with the folks on city council that disagree with you disagree with to make sorry, let me re-ask that question. A little tongue-tied. How will you work with folks on the city council that you disagree with to make the changes you want to see for Woonsocket?
So ultimately, again, I take a look at things and I try to understand what is the outcome that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times you'll see that you're getting into confrontations with people's egos, and sometimes you have to self-check while you're having conversations and debates and make sure that I'm not leading with ego, that I'm making sure that I'm keeping what my constituents want and need at the forefront of my conversations, and the ability to not take personally what may even be personal, and always understanding that politically speaking, it's really about give and take. And as much as you want to go in and just take all, it doesn't always work out that way. Fortunately, I am running with the slate, and we are looking to have a majority on the city council. And when we do get that majority, we absolutely would not abuse it. So it still is a matter of sitting down and listening and taking in the concerns from all constituents, opening your ears, putting your ego down, and is really it.
What did you say? You said put your ego down.
Put your ego down,
I'm
and
gonna
I
do
can
that.
do
I'm gonna
that.
put that in a. I'm gonna put that in a soundbite. We're gonna send it to Donald Trump. Put your ego down and do the work.
Put your ego down. Put your ego down. I can do that for
Mm-hmm.
my children. It's really hard in other circumstances, sometimes, especially when you know you're right or you think you know you're right. But when it
Right.
Yeah.
comes to my kids, ultimately, I want the best for them. I want the best for our young adults. I want Woonsocket to be a place that everyone's not clamoring to get away from once they come of age. A place that you would not mind raising a family in, and a place that is attractive for all races, because we're a melting pot here. There's a lot of diversity in Woonsocket,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like if we embrace that instead of ignoring it, um, we are on to something awesome.
Listen, I have so many friends that live out on Socket. I bowled against. I know, and I'm gonna tell them right now. I'm gonna say, listen to you guys out there that I've bowled against. I'm sorry for beating you guys when we were younger and things like that. But I think you guys should get out and vote for Charmaine Webster out there. Okay, guys.
Yes, yes, all of that energy. I will take it. Thank
You,
you. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
yes. Um, so I don't. Did we ask this question? I'm not sure, but tell us about the other three candidates running on the Woonsocket City seat under the Rhode Island political banner, and what's your relationship with them?
Absolutely. So Alex Keithis, who is a sitting city
We
councilman.
Alex is great. We had him on. He was our first guest on the show, and
Oh,
he's awesome. Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
So you know about him, and he's so powerful. His youth and his energy. He's actually was the person to come to me with the concept of running with the slate to make sure that we have the majority, because he's on the council now, and some of the things that he has to go through being on the council and trying to get things passed and such, is that if we don't have our own seat at the table, then we can't expect for others to bring up
Mm-hmm.
what we need to be doing for ourselves. So it was awesome to be it was awesome to be asked to be a part of Slate, and also in an atmosphere of respecting my position, respecting me as a Black woman, and
Mm.
respecting um, that Marlene Guy, who also is running. She's a single mother, affiliate, working with the United Way, and brings so much to the table in the way of access to information, on a state level. What it is that we need to be fighting for Woonsocket. So that going forward in the future, what we need to be demanding from the state. And then we also have Vaughn Miller, who is a veteran. He's a young adult that put his pulse on the fact that we need to be making sure that we're taking care of our elderly people, and we are living in an environment of self-sufficiency, that we're offering our constituents what it takes, so that we are not always looking out for other people to help to take care of us. We have what we need here.
Mm.
And honestly, together we are a force. We are a force. We don't always agree on everything, which still makes it awesome. But fundamentally, we definitely support each other's causes and respect the fact that uh, between the four of us, we pretty much hit on every aspect of what a constituent would want or need in a society. So we always have each other to veer off of, or to go to for professional advice on different issues.
Nice.
So, Woonsocket isn't in a great place financially. How will you overcome this obstacle to achieve your goals for the city?
Yeah, money makes the world go round, and one socket. Yes, you're absolutely right. We definitely need. So I think we need to take a hard look at our budget, and as far as on all levels, and to make sure that we are assessing all aspects of the budget and reallocating funds in a way that morally look the way that we would want our city to look.
Mm.
And again, on that statewide level, just getting a understanding of what it is that we need to fight for, as far as making sure that we are demanding from the state what it is that they should be helping us with, and
Mm-hmm.
also making sure that we are setting up a progressive community that attracts people to want to come live here. Growing the tax base just automatically opens us up to more funds to be able to assist us in being great. Sure.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. So, wow, Sherman, I think we answered all of our questions, except for I have two very special questions that I ask all of my guests. Okay. So, yes. So the first question is, what is your favorite food to eat? Your most comforting food to eat?
Your eating food. Your
Mm-hmm.
favorite eating food.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So the food that I like to eat the most, let's see. First of all, I'm a foodie and I like to cook. So
Ooh.
there's that. And my favorite food, it differs sometimes. So as of right now, I would have to say my favorite food is, yeah.
See, you like me.
So
It's hard to pick one.
and I have to get this right because, like I said, I'm a foodie. So as of right now, um, I am I love fish, whole
Mm.
fish,
Mm-hmm.
freshly caught whole fish, seasoned in, um, you know, green spices, and let to marinate, and then you can bake it.
Time out.
Yeah.
Time out. I have not had dinner yet.
Neither, I'm starving. That's why I took that question to heart.
Ooh, dropping things.
I know that's right. They tell me not to eat before the show because that way my belly's not protruding.
Oh,
Believe it or
please.
not, I'm wearing a girdle underneath all this. Believe it or not, but
Whatever you look, please. If I got on here after 12, however many hours then, and like, don't you look how handsome you are? Are you kidding me?
Thank you so much. Second
You're very
question.
welcome. And I mean that. I see on the inside and the outside.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
That inside,
Mhm.
that inside, that one's tricky. There's
Yeah.
gonna be some people that are gonna
Because
disagree with. They're gonna hit
it's
the
not,
mean button out there, but no.
we're not doing the pretty for nothing thing.
No, but also my second question is, if you can go to anywhere in the world, one place to relax for, where would it be?
Okay, if I could go anywhere in the world, I would love to go to Niagara Falls, the Canadian side. I love winter. I love being cold. I know it's not a popular answer. And I know it's not exotic, but I would love to go to Canada, to Niagara
Mm.
Falls, and
Yes.
at night, and just let the light shine through the water, let the cold air just like this, and just that's fun to me. Um, and just be cold and enjoying it with hot chocolate and um
That that is
fish.
fun.
And
Listen,
some
listen.
fish.
I like the cold weather as well, because being an asthmatic, cold weather helps you breathe a lot better than the hot weather.
Yes.
Cold is a trigger for me for my
Yeah.
asthma. It
Oh
makes me
yeah,
cough.
yeah. Oh
Yeah.
wow, it does.
Yeah, it is like
It
that for some. Yep.
for me, it
Yeah.
just calms everything right down for some strange reason. Well,
Hmm.
Shemaine, thank you so much. Everyone, Shemaine Webster, she's running for.
I'm sorry. I have to add one more thing. So
Go
you,
ahead.
my name is Charmaine, and you call me Shemaine.
I'm
My
sorry.
mother does that. No, do not apologize. That's
Uh,
that kindred thing happening. My mom is the only person that ever does that. So that was just like I gotta call her after this. Okay.
so sorry. So it's
No, no, no. Don't
it's
apologize. I just had to
uh,
point that out.
no problems. But yeah, thank you so much for being here today. It was great having you. I'm looking forward to following your race and paying attention. I'm definitely going to give you a shout out on my personal Facebook page, because I think
Um,
I like what you had to say. So I usually give everyone a grade because this is the progress report, and education is kind of my thing. So so A minus. I'm gonna give you A minus, only because of the fact that I can't give you an A, because then that means then he has nothing to work on. So A
right.
minus. You always got to have things to work on. So
Yes.
thank you so
Yes.
much. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it was nice
And
to speak with you.
Thank you
and we're
both.
gonna.
It's been awesome conversating with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And everyone, we are going to go to commercial. We'll be right back. So, welcome back, everyone. We had a wonderful talk with Charmaine Webster. And we had a wonderful talk with her, and it was great. To be honest with you, I felt the motherly presence from her, and I think that was awesome. And I think that's going to be big for today, especially with today's youth, because one thing I think moms, if you could agree with me, Sarah, on this, moms listen. Moms have a tendency to be able to really listen, and with an opening ear, and also a way to get on you when you're not doing something right, but also give you that big hug after when you're crying and with tears. So to close us out today, it's gonna be me giving you guys a couple of my thoughts on everything today. So earlier I talked a little about Cardi B and our responsibility of Cardi B. Coronavirus is still running rampant. We have schools beginning to open. But what I really want to talk about is these idiots from last week in Miami. How dare you? How dare you as a fraternity, knowing that you have COVID and multiple people in that house, in that frat house, were tested positive for COVID-19 and decide to still throw a party. This is what bothers me so much about white privilege. You just think that the rules don't apply to you somehow. Okay, you potentially put multiple people in danger because you didn't know who they were going to. And let's be quite real. We know what goes on at these frat parties: sharing of cups, sharing of blunts and bongs, and sharing of sexual partners. Right? So you have potentially, literally, just put out there, and if infected more people. In my opinion, each and every one of you should go to jail. And that fraternity should be held responsible as well and put an example out there for all of their frat houses across the nation and all fraternities and sororities that you are not above the rules at all. If I'm not above the rules, if Sarah's not above the rules, neither are any of you. And the colleges and universities need to make sure that they have backtrack and double check to make sure to see all those people that have traced. That is an outrage. You ought to be ashamed. You know what y'all need? Y'all need a good old whooping. That's the good old fashioned, one of them good old fashioned whoopings, taking over the knee and stuff like that. Like, you don't do that. What is wrong with you? Come on. It's so annoying. And it doesn't help that it happened in Florida. Of course, Florida, where we have people who sit there and say the reason why they don't wear a mask is the same reason why they don't wear underwear, because things need to breathe. An actual quote from a woman. I will send you guys the video.
I don't want to think about that.
Exactly. Seriously. Walking
they
around
need
with
vents on their underwear.
But come on, people. Come on, Florida. Listen, I used to sit there and say, like, Mississippi, but Florida, you're giving Mississippi a run for its money nowadays for some strange reason, I feel like there's a whole reverse going on in Mississippi, because you haven't really heard too much of Mississippi lately, have you? Not even with anything going on. But what can we do about that? I guess nothing. All we can do at this point, guys, is pray. And that is it. So, Sarah, is there any last words you want to give to the people out there?
Oh, no, but I should probably say, hi, Mom.
You know what? I should say hi, Mom, too. Hi, Mom.
Making you look bad.
Hi, Dad. All right. So, guys, don't forget to catch me tomorrow morning. I will be on tomorrow morning live with Coffee with Dee. As always, debriefing the progress report. And catch me also on Friday. Live as well. With all that said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for watching. This has been so much fun. Until next time. Oh, sorry. Thank you to my guest host, and thank you to my special guests today. Thank you so much, guys. And to everyone at home. Good night, Rhode Island.